Hi there. Welcome to Kenig's Corner. I'm Jerry. I'm your host. What a terrible weekend for the Red Sox. And all of their faults really came through in this series. They just can't hit in the clutch. Every game was winnable. They had the lead in two of them. In the second game, they had a 4-0 lead and a 6-3 lead. Uh, and they just couldn't hold on and win. And Minnesota this year against the Sox has hit everybody. They hit Crochet, they hit Gray, they hit Whitlock, they hit Slayton. I guess the only guy they really didn't hit was Chapman. But it was very discouraging because the Red Sox kept on getting men on base. First and second, I think, first and third in the eighth inning, uh, first and second in the ninth inning. And then kind of Falefa hits the ball off the wall, and Eberson sends the runner uh, Wong to the plate with one out. Would never have done that. I understand he thought wet ball, that they couldn't make two good throws, but they did. And then Rafaela comes up and swings at the first pitch outside the strike zone and hits a little looper to right that's caught. Just a terrible, terrible weekend for the Sox. And then there's reasons. I never like saying, well, they're losers, because that includes everybody. And obviously, everybody on the team isn't a loser. But it really seems that they're incapable of getting the big hit. They're incapable of making the big play in the field. The night before, Contreras not catching the pop up down the right field line. Tough play, but that's a play that's got to be made if you want to win a ball game. And I was thinking about this earlier. Uh, the, some of the problems, in not just for the Red Sox, but in Major League Baseball now, the analytics rule. First thing is strikeouts don't matter. They do matter. With a strikeout, you don't move a runner on. With a strikeout, you don't hit a sac fly. With a strikeout, you don't put pressure on the defense where they can make an error. I think it was Friday night, the Red Sox used a safety squeeze with Durbin, squeezed the run in. And then what did Minnesota do? They threw the ball in the right field. That's what happens when you put the ball in play. Just not solid thinking on strikeouts don't matter. Swing for the fences. Well, you've got a team in the Red Sox that can't swing for the fences, and they need to put the ball in play. That's how Toronto last year got all the way to the World Series and really should have won it because they put the ball in play. You don't have to hit the 3-run homer, especially when you're not getting two guys on. That's not the only thing. I mean, think of on the number of times the Red Sox have lost a one-run game where at some point during the game they had a runner on second, nobody out. Nobody considers hitting to the right side. I'm not talking about necessarily sacrificing, but if you hit the ball on the ground to the second baseman or the first baseman, you get the guy to third base. Now all of a sudden you can score on any number of different ways from third with less than two outs. Or that ball that you hit to the right side can get through for a hit. But they don't make any attempt to do that anymore. And I think the game is worse off for it. There's a reason that so many players are hitting around 210 or 220 or even less. They're just not interested. They're taking too big of swings. All this drive line stuff that the Red Sox follow, well, it hasn't served them well. While I'm talking about the Red Sox, I'm also terrified of Craig Breslow being the one at the trade deadline to make the decisions on what you're going to do at the trade deadline. I've seen Buster Olney wrote that there's a lot of people who think that the Red Sox will deal Contreras. He's got a year left on his contract at $17 million. That's a good deal. There's a lot of talk on the Red Sox that they might trade Chapman. He's got another year on his deal. I think that's for $12 million. Those are guys that you need. It's not that easy to replace them. We found that this year in the offseason when we replaced Bregman with Durbin. The good players, winning players, don't grow on trees. And I'm afraid that with Breslow, his trade, he did make the Crochet trade. By the way, the White Sox right now, I think, would be in the playoffs. But while he made that trade, he also made two horrible trades with Milwaukee. Sent him Quinn Priester, sent him Kyle Harrison. Those guys have pitched well over the last 2 years for the Brewers. And what have we got in return? And then, of course, the terrible trade, and we'll see Chris Sale this week when the Braves come to town, for a guy that's not even with the team anymore. Couldn't field. can hit a little bit. He was hitting for California the last I looked. But this has been a disaster. And I think that they're really going to have to take a look at whether we can really keep Craig Breslow as the general manager. It might be that we are forced to because the last time around, we couldn't get anyone to even interview for the job, let alone take it. People don't want to work for John Henry when you've got a Theo Epstein who left, when he fired Ben Sherrington after he won a World Series, when he fired uh, David Dombrowski after he won a World Series, best record in the history of the team. Less than a year later, he's fired, and now he's been with Philadelphia, and they got off to a terrible start, but they're winning now. Just nothing that makes sense. He brings in Chaim Bloom to build up the farm system. They built up the farm system, and then he fired him. I I don't think many people in the game that have a career, that have a future, want to work for John Henry. Why would you? What's the incentive? I'm going to sign a 5-year deal, and 3 years in, whether I win or I lose, I'm out. And your career is set back. Now, in all fairness, Dombrowski, Sherrington, and Theo and Bloom all got other jobs. Now, Theo's back in an ownership capacity, but still. So the last 3 guys he fired, Bloom, Dombrowski, and Sherrington, are all running teams. What does that tell you? Other people found value in the guys that we had. Maybe Craig Breslow will end up being a general manager somewhere or a director of baseball operations somewhere, but I don't think it'll be here long term unless we're stuck with him. What else was I going to tell you? The Red Sox, by the way, sent Tyler Samaniego down to the minor leagues. Seems to be a regular occurrence these days. The day before, or a couple of days before, they had sent another pitcher down. Well, that's the life they've chosen. So it's just very frustrating being a Red Sox fan. I think this thing could really go off the rails if they're not careful. Could be a very bad week with the Braves. The best you can really hope for is to win one of the 3. You couldn't win one against Minnesota, and all 3 games were on right there for them to win the game. They had leads, they just couldn't finish the job. So sad times for the Red Sox. All right, well, that's our show for this afternoon, this Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day weekend to all of you out there, especially the veterans who kept our country safe. And I'll be back tomorrow. If you like the show, please give us a like, give us a subscribe. That's how, once again, I say it every day, but it helps the algorithm and keeps us going. And I'd say go Sox. They got the day off. They should be celebrating. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night.